Well, welcome. My name's Connie Ashburn, of course, your National Field Development Director. And with me, I have Amanda Lisburg. So I'm going to let you in a minute introduce yourself, Amanda. But we're glad you're here. And our topic today is about sponsoring. So I've asked Amanda to join me because she was in the top 5, and even a little higher than that, I think, in terms of sponsoring for the 2018-19 reunion year. And so she's going to share some of her expertise and experience. But first, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself quickly, Amanda?
Hey, everybody. I am Amanda Lisburg. I am from Moorhead, Minnesota. I have a husband. We've been married for, it'll be 11 years in November, and a son who just turned 3 yesterday.
Awesome.
Time totally just goes by so fast. I joined Pink Zebra when I was a month away from my due date.
Oh,
and yeah, and I did that. I joined Pink Zebra because I knew I didn't have enough money for maternity leave to cover all of my maternity leave. I wasn't going to let anything stop me from taking the full 12 weeks. And so with me already loving the passion, my upline was my best friend. So I trusted her into being able to lead me in the direction that I needed to go. And it's just been a wild, crazy journey ever since then. And my third year anniversary was August 12th. It was my birthday's August 13th. So it was actually a birthday present for myself when I signed up.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. So we're going to jump into our topic because I want everyone to hear some of the things that you're going to be sharing. And this recording is being put into our new PZ Academy. So I'm very excited that we've got an opportunity to house some of these recordings and these trainings now so others can learn from what you have learned. So I asked, we kind of talked about this earlier, but what do you feel? And I say that in quotation marks because I do think it's a feeling that you have about sponsoring, because I think some people just don't understand how it really touches your heart and how it affects your life in so many ways. But what do you feel about sponsoring? So in other words, why did you take that step in the first place to start adding sponsoring to your business?
When I first started Pink Zebra, my why for sponsoring was because I wanted to earn more money. I knew that once you started sponsoring, you had the opportunity to be able to make the commission from your team. And then my why turned into being able to share that passion with my team members, to be able to have their goals and their dreams come true because of Pink Zebra and what it was doing for them. Because they're also, when they first sign up, they're also signing up because they're looking for that extra income. I had, one of my team members who signed up, and her first commission check was being able to pay for her insurance, her car insurance, and her son's school pictures for the very first time. And when she told me that, I literally started crying because I knew that what I was doing was actually touching people's lives. And so that's what's continued to drive my passion with building a team. And it's been fun because I'm making all these new friendships. You have that opportunity to make this new family and to make these new friends. And it's been amazing.
It's interesting when you bring people into your life through sponsoring them into your business, you obviously get to know them on a whole new level. And I think it's very different than working in a typical corporate environment, because you are seeing and impacting their personal lives and their, obviously financial well-being in such a way that you just don't see when you're working regular jobs. So one of the things that you shared with me earlier is that you were doing the business part-time when you first started. And I think you went to Teresa and said, I want to see how I can increase my commission. And that's kind of how this whole discussion began for you.
Mm-hmm. I was working Pink Zebra part-time, and I wanted to be able to quit that job and stay at home with my son on a full-time basis and work Pink Zebra on a full-time basis, right? Because I was loving what Pink Zebra was able to offer. And Ryder is my miracle child. I never thought that I would be able to be blessed with having a son or a child altogether. And I did not want to miss any milestones in his life. And so I went to Teresa and I'm like, what can we do for this? And with her help, I eventually was able to, after a year and a half,
Mhm.
was fate stepped in and just aligned everything perfectly. And I was able to get out of that corporate job and work Pink Zebra full time. And let me tell you, I didn't mention this earlier, Connie, but that first week that I was home full time, I went on, I was doing the first 5 people to comment for a free sample will get a free sample.
Okay.
And within 2 weeks, I doubled my VIP page.
Oh, wow. Good. That's
And
really
that was
good.
that. And so, I mean, just off of that, I was like, now we're talking. And it's just gotten
Affirmation.
better.
You got some affirmation. This is going to work for you.
Yes.
That's good. That's really good. So you mentioned when we kind of prepared for this a little bit that you have a way of showing passion for what you do, which really makes your business attractive to others. So tell me a little bit about how you accomplish that.
I strongly feel that even though people can't hear me and people can't see me unless I go live, of course,
Mhm.
but in my posts that they can feel my passion and they can sense my energy. And I know it may sound goofy or I may sound like a nerd, but when I'm doing a post, I have like my voice in my head and it's so upbeat. And I'm, doing exclamation points and emojis and I have a smile on my face while I'm making the post because I don't feel like it's work, like, oh gosh, I have to do this post now. I'm like,
Right.
oh, I can't wait to share this. And I feel people can feel that. They can feel that energy.
Mhm.
And and just also sharing a part of my life with them and showing them that I'm living life on my terms. Being able to take all these vacations with my family and go on these road trips, for weeks at a time without having to, worry about, PTO being used.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right. So,
Yeah. And I think you mentioned too that Ryder was home today. And obviously, if somebody listens to this 5 months from now, it's not going to matter, but he was homesick today. So, I mean, it's just such a luxury you have to be able to be there.
well, he's not homesick today, but as if
When
he
he
was
is.
homesick,
Okay.
I didn't have to worry about calling in to work.
Right, right,
I was
exactly.
able to just stay at home and
Mhm.
take care of them and not have to worry that I'm going to get in trouble from my boss because
Mhm.
this may have been his third time being sick for the week.
Right,
You just,
right.
because especially all the germs that go around in school. So
Yeah, it's kind of like crazy season right now with that for sure. So it's nice to be able to work your
mhm,
schedule around your family instead of your family working around your schedule. I mean, that's kind of what it is. No question.
exactly.
So building relationships, of course, is really a key component, I think, of people, once
Mhm.
they become part of your team, and that's a big part of you. So tell me more about how that plays a role in your sponsoring success.
It's planting the seed.
Hmm.
It's I in the beginning when I first started, I think I was overloading people with too much information, and that was
That's very
scaring
common.
people off because I I knew about it, about how everything worked, kind of, anyways, because
Hmm.
it's always a learning process. But now it's planting the seed, and if somebody's asking me, what are you doing, and I plant the seed. Well, this home fragrancing and decor, it's absolutely amazing. And then just kind of leaving it from there. Hey, you want to join my VIP page? That way you're able to see kind of more of what it's about. I do a lot of interaction, and then it's building the relationship with them. Instead of being like, are you ready to join my team? It's, how are things going today? I seen that you did a vacation with your family. How did that go? And then staying consistent with your posting because people are always watching.
Yeah, they
People
are.
are always watching you. So and the thing is you may not get somebody signed up within those 2 days. You may not get somebody signed up during the current join special. But if you continue to build those relationships with them, I guarantee that by the second or third join special that we have, they're going to be coming to you and saying, hey, I think I'm ready. I want to do what you're doing.
Hmm. And you have somebody right now that you just experienced that with. You told me one of your
Hmm.
roommates, right? Hmm.
Yes. when I was in college, that's where I met Teresa, and her and I were college roommates. And I also had another roommate that didn't live with me and Teresa, but she's been watching me for the last 3 years. And, you know, periodically she would kind of like ask me a question here and there, but then there was really nothing. Well, now the last couple weeks, she's been asking more and more questions. And last night she messaged me and she's like, okay, she is like, I'm going to do this. She's like, I'll either sign up tomorrow and my parents will pay for the kit, or I'll sign up on Friday. She was like, but I want to do this.
Mhm.
I want to do this. I want to sign up under you and I want you to help me. And I'm like, you got it, girl. I'm there for you.
Good, good. That's exciting. It's going to be fun. So it's one of the things Krista and I talked about, because we did a sponsoring thing with her, is how important creating that funnel is. And the funnel are those people, of course, like her. I mean, she was in the funnel for a long time. Some people are in the funnel for a month. Sometimes they're in there for 6 months, and sometimes they're in there for 3 years. So,
Right.
you know, if you don't continue to build those relationships and plant those seeds, transition people to your VIP page where you're able to more openly talk about the opportunity and maybe share some of the personal things going on in your life, like your trips that you took, that kind of thing. I mean, it's all, in my opinion, it's a process. It's not a hit and run at all.
Oh,
So,
no.
yeah, it's really not.
It definitely is a process. And I would, you know, and the one thing that I always remind my team, you know, especially if they're 6 months into it and they say, well, I'm not getting any interaction on my VIP page, I'm not getting anybody interested, I tell them it takes time. Just stay consistent.
Yeah.
It was almost 2 years before my business really started booming. And now I'm busy. I'm so busy that I had to start bringing my son back to daycare twice a week. And there's been times where luckily I have a really easygoing daycare lady where if I need to add him another day of the week, she lets me. So it's definitely takes time.
But now you're doing it on your terms and on your time, and that's what matters. So I think that the thing about that is, I mean, you do mostly Facebook parties. So, you know, just talk briefly about that a little bit, because I just want to comment that getting in front of enough people on a monthly basis is critical. So if you're, you know, working from home, it's pretty easy to feel busy. You know, you're on the internet, you're doing this, you're doing that. But if you're not getting in front of people and have that opportunity to plant those seeds, it's not going to happen. So talk a little bit about your Facebook parties, because that's really where, for the most part, you're finding a lot of your prospects.
Oh, yes. My Facebook parties probably run a little bit longer than the average consultant, because my Facebook parties do run 2 weeks. And I have gotten so many compliments in my Facebook parties because they feel the energy, they feel the interaction. It keeps them engaged. I play a lot of games. I do quite a bit of freebies, you know, like guess how many sprinkles, first person to guess it correctly wins a free sample. And then as soon as the party is done, then I make sure that I am sending them, you know, their party prizes right away. And so then when they're getting those packages, they're, oh my gosh, this smells amazing. This is wonderful. I want some more of this. And even sometimes during the party, within like the first 3 days of posting, I'll get people messaging me saying, how do I book a party? I want to book a party with you. And sometimes at the end of the party, I'll get people, like just yesterday, I had somebody connect to me from a party that ended 2 weeks ago. And she said that she just received her happy mail from me from the party prizes that she received during the party. And she wants to book a party. And I'm like, awesome. And I'm like, when do you want to book the party? And she was like, as soon as possible.
I think you
And I was like,
next week. Didn't you tell me that?
Huh?
That you have 6 starting next week. Didn't you say that?
Yes. She would have been number 7, and I was kind of chewing my fingernails on that one. So, because I gave her that date and I gave her the date for the week after. So luckily she picked the week after.
Well, this is what, you know, we talk about push and pull energy. And, you know, you mentioned earlier about not being pushy. You talked about that with me beforehand. And so when you start to create that pull energy where people are coming to you instead of you feeling like you're constantly pushing on them, it's when you know things are working. I mean, that's really what's exciting, because you're not outwardly now looking for parties. People are coming to you and saying, I want to book something with you, Amanda. So yeah.
Right. And it's the key component is because I never stop trying to network.
Right.
Because you will not be able to succeed in this business if you just rely on your family and friends, because they can only have so much pink zebra, and our sprinkles last a long time.
Yeah.
So you can't rely on them to help you get to, your 400 for the month, especially if you're having a team every month, because again, you can only have so many sprinkles on hand. And so one of the things that I did to get me built up to this point was, in my Facebook parties, I would do, like a pick a Paisley, win a prize. And that's always a popular game, especially when people don't know what the concept of the game is.
Right.
And I would privately message them, and I would let them know you can win a free sample pack for booking a party for either the month of September or the month of October. You have a chance for free and half price items. And I did that for probably, I would do that post, I would say like the second to the last day of the party. And I would always get at least 1 to 2 people that would say, yeah, I'll book a party with you. Sure. Why not? And it doesn't cost anything. So I might as well, because it's like nothing to lose, but possibly a lot to gain.
Absolutely.
And it just, from there, the ball just kept on rolling. So it's definitely you got to make sure that you're networking and getting yourself out there.
Absolutely. And don't quit. I mean, honestly.
Don't quit. Don't give up.
Yeah.
There was one time, I remember it was the month of November. I had 5 parties going on at the same time. This is back in the day when I used to manually post as well. And I got little to no interaction in all 5 parties. And I think I maybe gotten like 1 or 2 orders in 2 different parties, but they were like $30 orders or something like that. And if I was the type of person to just quit, that would have been the time. Because I would have been like, are you kidding me? I just had 5 parties and I got nothing out of it. But I was like, brush it off my shoulder.
Start again. I mean, those are all lessons. You learn something, and what do I need to do differently, and how can I approach this in a different way? I mean, there's always ways around that challenge like that. There's no question. So, all right. So the last thing, if there's anything that you would want our consultants to know about sponsoring, what would it be? So first, from a personal, in terms of what it's done for you personally, and then also secondly, from how it's really impacted your business.
Sponsoring has affected me personally because I've been able to earn more money for me and my family. I was able to help get a brand new vehicle. We went from a Honda CR-V to a Honda Passport. Love my vehicle. And now I'm wanting to get a bigger house because we're outgrowing this house. So it's sponsoring, because when you sponsor, you are obviously building that team, and you're able to work with your team, and you're able to get that team bonus. But I also know that I can't just rely on my team. I have to work just as hard as well. And not just work just as hard with my business, but work just as hard with helping them with their business.
Right.
And that's how it's also impacted me business wise, because I've been able to just help people. When you get started in this business, it's money, they want extra money. And so that's how it starts, and it just builds on from there.
That's very exciting. So there was something that you wanted to share about that competitive side of you. So I want you to share that.
So I do have a little bit of a competitiveness to me.
Just a little? Okay.
Just a little. I could be the redheaded thing. And of course I ended up focusing on, one of our other amazing redheads, which is Krista Clay. And I had told her this at reunion. I said, you were my drive. You gave me this drive of wanting to, aspire to be like, to be where you're at.
Right.
Because her and I started around the same time, and I was seeing her name all over the place, in the top 5, in the top 10, and, and I'm like, how is she doing this? I want to do this. I want to be where she's at. So it's, I didn't compare myself to her, but because I don't feel that you should ever compare yourself to anybody else. But if you do have a little bit of a competitive drive to you and you see somebody that is doing amazing, think like, what can I do to be amazing like that? Because I want that, you know? So my focus was Krista and being where she was at and being able to do what she was doing and just having that passion. And you know, and she kept me motivated because I was like, I want that, you know? And so, and now Krista, I mean, Krista and I, we are ultimately like on the same team, but we don't earn, you know, commission off of each
You're like
other.
sisters with each other, basically, is kind of what
We're like sisters with each other. We don't earn commission off of each other by any means. And now, you know, her and I have teamed up and have been able to just like inspire each other and bounce ideas off of each other when it comes to our business, and sharing that with our team.
I think it's really important for anybody listening to this to have a person like that, you know, that you're not earning from, or they're not earning from you. I mean, your upline, of course, is always your first line of defense and, you know, learning and all of that. But, you know, much of what you do depends on you, plain and simple. I mean, I've seen plenty of very successful consultants that had horrific, you know, sponsors that basically weren't engaged at all, and yet were able to be very successful in this business because they took that responsibility on themselves. And I think when you've got a business buddy like that, or a partner, or however you want to tag it, it really enriches your experience and allows you, of course, to learn from them, and then they learn from you. And it's certainly a win-win thing. And I think the great thing about your story is that you didn't let that defeat you to say, you know, Krista's just better than me and I could never do that. You used it to inspire you. And I remember going to my first convention. I'd been in the business about a year, and I was just dabbling. I'll be honest. I had started, you know, my kids were still home and young, and I just didn't really know what I was going to do. And I remember sitting in the audience watching these women cross stage that were, you know, getting flowers and recognition for all kinds of things. And I just kept thinking to myself, I am really no different than any of them. You know, they can do that, I can do that. And I didn't even really know them at that point. But, you know, it is kind of interesting how that little competitive thing can kind of help you a little bit. So
as long, I mean, and of course, it's as long as you're taking that competitive drive to a positive place and not to a negative place. And that's what the most important part of it is.
Yeah. So I guess the bottom line of all of this is, you know, like, just be in front of enough people. I mean, that's key to sponsoring, in my opinion. And then the other part of it is so much of what you've done in terms of sharing yourself and being very natural and being very passionate about what you do and getting yourself out there again and again and again has obviously achieved the level of success that you have. So, so congratulations, and certainly thank you very much for sharing your story and sharing some of your experience and your expertise with our audience.
Yes, absolutely. I
feel like we're on a podcast or something. So
I'll tell you, when I first started this business, I would have never, ever imagined that I would be where I'm at right now. And that's doing this with you. And, you know, when it came to the incentive trips, I also was like, that's something that I'll probably never achieve. I'm guessing you probably have to do all of these, you know, all of this stuff in order to be able to achieve these trips. And then I earned my first incentive trip to Ireland. I mean, it was crazy. So I just say that you know, you just work. All you need to do is just work your business.
Yeah.
Stay consistent, work your business, and just get yourself out there. And it can happen. I mean, if I can do it, I know you can. Yeah, absolutely. I just have an image of you being in Ireland, which was such a magical trip, and how exciting that was for you to be there. And, you know, you don't think those things are going to happen, and they do. But the reality of it is that you did have a driving force in the beginning, and that was hopefully to leave your full-time job at some point and be home with your son, which that's now happened. So whoever you are and whatever point you're at in your business, you've got to find that. You've got to find that thing that's going to just get you to propel. You got to find that fire, fire inside of you.
You do. And everybody, I don't care who it is, when you talk about money, that's always a touchy topic because people don't want to say, I really want to earn a lot of money. They're just like, they feel that's selfish. But the reality of it is that can be a life changer for many people. And it could be $500 a month that might be life changing for you, or it could be $5,000. I mean, everybody's level of change is different, but I think it's very exciting that we are in a business that allows, the woman you shared earlier that was able to pay her car insurance, I think, and her,
school pictures.
Yeah, the school pictures. That was something, because her husband was always the earner in the house, that she was extremely proud of. And I think it's one of the things that just drew me again and again back to this, or into this business further and further because of that kind of stuff. So
Right.
Really awesome. All right. Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate you and certainly appreciate your expertise and what you've shared with us today. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you for allowing me to do this.
Absolutely. All right. Take care. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.